Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde on Tuesday broke his silence on his rift with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, disclosing that their fallout stemmed from Wike's alleged declaration to hold down the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for President Bola Tinubu's re-election in 2027. Wike and Makinde were prominent members of the G5 governors who opposed the PDP's choice of Atiku Abubakar as his presidential candidate and Iyorchia Ayu as national chairman of the 2023 general election, because politicians from the north occupied both positions. Speaking during a media chat in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, Makinde said the relationship collapsed after Wike made what he described as a shocking declaration during a meeting with President Tinubu, which he said the president neither requested nor endorsed. With Governor Seyi Makinde's latest revelation about Nyesom Wike's promise to deliver the PDP to the president, with 2027 fast approaching, the question is, will there be a free and fair election? Joining us on this show to take a look at his revelations and if the people's votes will count in 2027 is Dr. Hakeem Baba-Ahmed, a politician, media entrepreneur, and public commentator. He will also discuss whether stifling opposition to gain political control is putting democracy in jeopardy. Good morning, Dr. Hakeem Baba-Ahmed, and Merry Christmas to you, and good to see you. The main point by Governor Makinde is not just about Wike. He was talking more about the need to have a competitive political environment and to allow the opposition democracy to thrive, because the serious consequences of what everyone has been discussing will be a one-party state and then significant damage to democracy. So the bigger issue is about this drift towards one-party state. The second thing is that, do you think that all the powers ascribed to Nyesom Wike, that he will do this for President Tinubu, he will do that, does he have such powers, or is just one, simply overrated politician? Or you think that he has enough powers to help the president, take over the entire political space? And for how long, even if he succeeds, can he sustain that kind of, assigned value? And three, what hopes do you have about 2027 election? Do you think, the APC has already won and others have lost, or there is an X factor that could emerge somewhere down the line? I know it's a mouthful, but just those are the dimensions.
Well, I know. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to the program on Christmas Day. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I watched the interview by Governor Makinde, where he explained Minister Wike's apparently voluntary offer to President Tinubu to hold down PDP for him. I think that sometimes we blame the government too much, and we don't pay attention to the damage that the PDP and the opposition has done to itself. The truth about it is that PDP has been on a free fall for a long time. These are politicians who held power from 2009 until 2015. And it turns out these people never had any experience in being in the opposition. These are accomplished politicians who run the country, and suddenly they lost power and they lost their heads. People blame Tinubu. I blame him as well, because there are areas clearly where he's wrong. He's amassing too much power, or what appears to be too much power. He's actually collecting too many politicians around him. That's not necessarily power. But what has the PDP done itself? PDP has been involved in destroying itself consistently since 2011, 2012. If anybody is to be blamed, it's PDP. And what is amazing is that it started very well as a party, accomplished politicians, people who had served their country very well, And sadly, it has degenerated and degenerated and degenerated. And this is where we are. A governor, PDP, used to line up. You remember, we had this discussion before when we were saying from the Northern Elders Forum, this business of Northern presidency, Southern presidency shouldn't be championed the way Southern governors were. Governors from different parties, including Makinde, will rally around, meet together and say, point fingers at the North and say, don't you dare field a Northerner. And we would say, no, you have to show us in the law where it says so. Now the chickens have come home to roost. PDP is left with what, 4, 5, 6 governors? And we don't know how many they will have left by 2027. And here we are. They allowed their party to split. They couldn't find a way to either took the part that is left. This is not the first time PDP has taken a huge chunk of itself and given it to the opposition. This happened in 2015. And it's happening again. PDP is drifting away and drifting away and drifting away. I don't think the nation is expending the energy productively. We're worrying too much about the PDP. PDP is not the only party that can represent a credible opposition to the APC. You have ADC, you have multiple number of political parties. To be honest, I'm sorry to say this because I think this is the loss of national legacy. I think PDP is gone. I can't see how anybody can fix PDP. They have destroyed it themselves. They have destroyed it because they've fallen into the hand of a very ambitious, a very, very, very scheming president. Forget who said he will deliver what to him. If Minister Wike says to the president, in the presence of Makinde, Mr. President, I'll hold on PDP for you, it's because Wike knew the weak points, and President Tinubu desperately wants to literally annihilate the opposition. Now, if he doesn't do this illegally, if he doesn't do it in a way that offends the democratic process, how do you blame him? The man is running a government and a country in a political space that literally has no opposition. And look at the others. ADC is there, but what is ADC doing to actually energize itself, build organic roots with the rest of Nigeria, and represent a credible opposition, including huge chunks of the PDP that should be now walking back, not towards the APC, but towards the ADC. But they are not doing that. They're talking about ambitions. I want to be this one is going to be this one is going to be that. So there are other parties. Why aren't these parties? My party, the PRP, yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So sorry, it's Christmas. We're trying to get all the interviews in as we have a number of things to do today. But very quickly, sir, you've talked about how the PDP is not the only opposition party. We have said the same thing. But the challenge that others we might look at when you talk about the ADC, for instance, is that do they have the experience in the political terrain in terms of how long they've been in formation to be ready for 2027? And then would the same challenges that have plagued the PDP not happen in the ADC? Because we see that in the Labour Party, for instance, which emerged as a third force in the 2023 elections. What are some of the things, maybe I should ask, that the ADC should do to avoid being another PDP if they do emerge as the third force in this election, the upcoming elections, or perhaps the main opposition party in the next elections?
ADC should represent a new face in Nigerian politics. I know they are all politicians. All of them former vice president, former governors, former ministers, but there must be something they can say to Nigerians that will be different from what everybody has said. We can fix Nigeria, for instance, and we can fix it in specific ways. And they need to do this as quickly as possible. They don't have all the time in the world. As it is, this is a coalition that is just centered around a few individuals that have all been part of one government or the other. They must embark on massive recruitment of credible politicians, including colleagues that will come from other parties, rallying around the opposition and designing a future for this country. Ask them today what they would do beyond just simply opposing and hoping that they can unseat President Tinubu. They won't tell you. What can you do about security? What can you do about the poverty that we see in this country? What can you do about corruption? What can you do about the drifting of various parts of the country? What can you do about the dangers of divisive politics in this country? By now, somebody in this party should be saying to Nigerians, if you trust us in 2027, these are the things we will do. Then they need to put fresh faces forward. We don't want to see the same old politicians coming forward to say, okay, we were part of this government, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this. If you give me power, I'll be different. I'm telling you, 60% of Nigerians now will be voting, they're young people over 60. They want new people, they want new faces, they want new energies. That's really what they should do. But if they just simply think we will be an alternative Tinubu, we can be an alternative APC, I'm not sure that they will generate the kind of confidence of Nigerians to say, maybe these people should be trusted and they'll do something different. Okay. Now, Labour Party is splitting. They systematically, if you want to blame ADC, fine. If you want to blame APC for systematically eating up the opposition, go ahead and do it. But ask the other question. What is the opposition doing to prevent itself from being eaten up by the APC? The way we're going to spend all the valuable time. We've just about 1 year to an election. And all we're doing is saying, Tinubu, you are eating up all the opposition. Tinubu, you are eating up all the opposition. For goodness sake, if somebody has evidence that the APC is breaking up, I don't speak for the APC. I hope they don't come back in 2027. Okay. But we have to do a lot more than hope. Okay. And we have to say to those who think that they can defeat APC in 2027, do a lot more than just simply sitting there and saying, we are the opposition. You're not the opposition if you're not acting actively as a party that is ready to offer Nigerians a different future. And what is that future? Who's
okay, Dr. Baba-Ahmed. Okay, Dr. Baba-Ahmed.
Criticizing APC.
If you can hear me. Merry Christmas. Good to see you once again.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. You and I know, to hazard a guess, that ADC will not do all the things you've told them to do. It will still be those people that have run this country before that are in the ADC now, that are disgruntled, mostly the APC members or the PDP members that are disgruntled, that will vie for presidency, and their own implosion will probably start after their primaries. I mean, they can't seem to agree. There are many behemoths in the party, Obi, Atiku, Amechi, and after their primaries, probably, which might likely go the way of Atiku, that's when the implosion will start. So I would not see ADC as a great opposition. But the question will now be, what will people like you and the influence you have in the North tell a lot of people in the North? Because one of the growls I had with you the first time, when you decided to join this government, was the fact that this same government you're speaking against today, with the kind of clout you had in the North, you gave legitimacy to it. And now you come in and say, no, it's not that way any longer. A lot of people are wondering what is happening. But now that you're out of it, you can see clearly now. What are the things you will be telling the North since you've been in this government that they should watch out for, that this government is not it, like you're speaking now? What are some of those things you'll be telling the North?
Just a small correction. I went into this government with my eyes very clearly, and I came out of it. There was no, it wasn't that I didn't know there were problems. I went in to fix those problems. It didn't look like they were ready to be fixed, or those who are causing the problem wanted the problems to be gone. And I'm glad I went out when I did, because you can see the country has been going downhill. Our security situation is worse. Our economy is worse. I think corruption is rising. I may not have the evidence for that, but I can tell you that 80% of Nigerians, not just in the North, but everywhere, are drifting away from this administration because they just don't see an administration that genuinely cares enough to address issues about insecurity, to address issues about poverty, to address the disenchantment and alienation of young Nigerians who are desperately looking for a country that can say to them, you have a future here. So what is not really a northern issue. Northerners don't have an agenda that they can say to this administration uniquely as Northerners, but we suffer more than anybody else. We are more insecure than anybody else. We're more desperate for good leadership more than anybody else. And we have been marginalized by a government that we voted for. Substantially, the votes that brought President Tinubu to power came from the North. So here we are, running around because bandits and kidnappers are chasing us around, and we're not being protected enough by the state. What the North would say would be, who is going to do something radically different from what President Tinubu is doing? And then we will support them. Now, as I said before, I'm a member of the People's Redemption Party, the PRP, and we have been working actively to build some kind of relationship with other parties to see if we can provide an alternative to APC, and also see if all these ADC and Labour Party, the big ones, can actually work with us. We do have ideas. We have a vision that Nigeria can be fixed. Nigeria must be fixed. The failure of this country's democracy will be a major disaster.